Alright guys, what's up? You guys were asking for it, so I decided I would do it. Here we have our Myth tier list spells. Myth is, of course, everyone's favorite class. And if you've been here before, you know how we usually grade this stuff. I'll throw it on the screen. And I'll throw on also exactly what every part of this tier list means, in my opinion. And of course, this is my opinion. So let's just jump right into it. First spell is a Lore Master spell and an Aquilin theme spell. It's Athena. So Athena is pretty solid. It gives you a little bit of damage and a shield. I'm gonna say it's A plus. I think that Legion I think the tower shield that it gives is very good, and that's what puts it a little bit over the edge. Basilisk. Alright, so Basilisk is a tick and it stuns. It's like not awful, but I don't think it's that great. I'm gonna put it in B plus, just because ticks are not amazing unless you're PvP, but 9 pips is a lot for a tick spell. So I think that's part of the problem. Alright, we have a stun, an AoE stun. That's obviously gonna be pretty freaking good. We'll put an A. Not much to say about that. Bloodbat's not as good as like Firecat. Like when you're in Unicorn Way, I don't really use Bloodbat that much. I'm putting Blood B. Like there are things I use a lot. Like Firecats can kill I think almost anything in Unicorn Way in one hit, and then usually Imp After or Frost Beetle. Thunder Snake 2 can kill almost anything. I don't ever use Bloodbat. All right, so now we have. Give a blade to a minion. So you guys know I'm not a huge fan of the minions period in this game, but I know it's Myth's gimmick, and so that definitely changes how good it is. That's what makes Myths pretty good in low level PvP, also pretty good in solo questing. So I'm gonna put this Myth blade in B. Situational. It's not bad. For 0 pips, giving a 40 blade to your minion is pretty decent. Celestial Calendar. I want to put in A. It's definitely better than Basilisk. For 1 more pip, you can do just better base damage, and you can steal a pip. The thing with Celestial Calendar that's good compared to Basilisk is like if I have a feint on, the first hit of Basilisk, it's going to use 70%, that 70% feint on a 300 hit, and not the 70% feint on the 1000. And that's why Celestial Calendar is better. Okay, so this is Cleanse Ward or whatever, something like that. This is pretty bad. When do you, I don't think you ever really need to use this. Why do you need to ever Cleanse a Ward? I mean, most of the time just tank a hit. So I'm going to put that down in C. I feel like it's just a waste of space in your deck, in your hand. Alright, X minion. Summon a minion from 1 to 4. Is this that good? I know there's some minions that are actually fairly good. I played through with the Myth a little bit, but I didn't summon that many minions. Some minions in general are like, I don't know, I'm wary with X-Pip spells. If it's going to be an X-Pip spell, it better do a shit ton of damage or something. The problem is it takes every single one of your pips. You're left with 0 pips, and that's a problem. Cyclops is for sure A. It's just a good hitting spell. Alright, Dimension Shift. God, I don't think anybody uses this. I think it's just a waste. I feel like there are gimmicky ways to use it, but like honestly, half the time, like there are spells like this that I'm just like, you can learn this spell. Like I look at the wiki and I get all these spells, and I'm like, there's no way. Like who has ever learned Dimension Shift? Anyway, sacrifice minion for 2 pips. That's pretty bad. If you summon a minion, I mean, unless you put the 0 pip up and then you, I don't know. It just makes no sense. Theoretically, you're only getting 1 pip because you're using 1 pip. I don't know. Earthquake's got to be S tier. Not quite S plus. It's not like amazing. I don't think it's as good as Tempest. But the fact that you can take away everything is so annoying, especially in something like PvP. Like you can take away. Oof. It's quite good. As far as questing goes, it's kind of low damage, but it's still not bad. Like it's still pretty good AoE, and I think it's basically your AoE hit till Mystic. You're using this all the way from like level 40 to level 100. Are these the Dream Shield? Is that what this is called? I forget. Can't actually see the top of it. I'm gonna put this in B. It's not as good as like the Ice one, which gives Fire and Storm, which are the two highest hitting schools. So having a Fire and Storm shield is pretty fucking good. Having a Life Shield, that's pretty good because a lot of minions in this game are death because it's the undead. Death's the bad guys usually, but life isn't super strong on that. Gobbler, 3 pips for 310. That's fairly solid, but you get it so late that I don't think it's amazing. I put in B+ as like a good spell, but just not quite. Like for the level you get it, not great. If you got this at level like 8, that would be amazing. It's way better than Cyclops, right? Just guaranteed basically more damage. I don't know. It's just you get it too late. Summon a minion. I'm gonna put this one in B because 0 pip summon a minions. Just like you can, you know, instead of blading, I don't know, you know, you can just summon that minion. That's fairly good. We have AoE spells. I love AoE spells. So good for questing. So far, I was gonna go an A+. I don't think it's as good as Earthquake, but I still think it's a pretty solid spell. Keeper of the Flame, I'll put an A. I really like the animation for Keeper. Plus, it puts on a trap for you. It just seems like a really good spell. In general, it's fun. King Art. Interesting. So this is an overtime King Art. Like every King Art's different. This one's overtime. Let me. Again, I hate overtime spells. Is it as good as Basilisk? Not really. Look at the overtime. Holy shit. I'm gonna put in B. It's a pretty bad spell. I even think Basilisk might be better. It does 80 on the initial hit. No, 50. Holy shit. That's gotta be garbage. Fuck that. Mass Prism's always going A, I think. Because Mass Prisms will always be good. There'll always be times when you need to Mass Prism. So that's why they're going in there. Medusa. Stuns for 2 turns. Fuck. I want to put this in A, right? A+. The problem is not really good against bosses. Like, most bosses are stun immune. I'll still put it in A+, just because stunning for 2 turns is really good. It's fucking annoying when a boss Medusas me, when somebody in PvP will Medusa me. It's just really annoying. Yeah, fuck that. That thing else goes in D, we know that. 350 health from minion only, that's way better than the blade, even though it is 1 pip though. I'll put it in B+. You able to heal your minion, especially with all the minions you summon as a myth, that's pretty solid. For 1 pip, that's a good heal. Alright, this Minotaur. I think this Minotaur is the best minion. Like, 3 pips for this Minotaur has got to be pretty solid. This or the, yeah, I think it's this one. This is the one that I use the most when I did it. Like, very rarely would I summon this Haunted minion or this X-pip stuff, because it takes all your pips, but the Minotaur I think is pretty solid. Speaking of the Minotaur, the spell, I'm going to put that in B+ as well. Again, the problem is if I have a feint, I'm not going to get the feint. The good thing about Minotaur is PvP. Like, let's say your enemy tower shields. You take that tower shield off with that 50 hit, and now your 450 is going to be behind the tower shield. Like, it's gonna go through. But as far as, like, questing goes, like, I can't hit a boss with this thing, because if I want to feint, the 50 hit's going to take the feint. I need to, like, double feint. That's ridiculous. Why not just use another spell? Mystic Colossus is going to be an S as well. AoE, high damage, good. It's good. It does a lot more than Earthquake, but again, this is a level 100 spell, whereas Earthquake's like I think level 42 or something like that. Like, it's super low, so it makes sense. Blades are always with mass prisms in A, as you know. Always good. You're always going to want a blade. Regular prisms, situational, which is what I put in B. You'll use these sometimes, but they're not amazing. Yeah. Mist shield, I mean, as far as situational goes, it's garbage. Why do you need an 80% myth shield? Just get a TC of myth death or something with the life equivalent. I don't know. It's not really worth it. Unless you're going against a solo boss who's myth as well, with myth with you. Pierce blades are pretty bad as well, especially myth pierce. Why? Just why? Myth trap I'll put in B+. Not as good as a blade, obviously. First of all, less damage. And second of all, I don't know why they do that. Like, the blade is way stronger just because if I have one blade on, that's the equivalent of having the same trap on 4 people. So theoretically, shouldn't this be 25 to balance the game and this be 35? So it makes it so this is higher. I don't know. We can talk about that in another video. It just makes no sense from balance standpoint why they did that. No sense. Ninja Pigs. It's 5 pips and a lot of damage. Way better than Minotaur. Obviously, it's way harder to get. And I kind of do take that into account. But at the same time, no. This is just a better spell, for sure. It does more damage, period. And it hits on 1 hit, which is what I like. Speaking of that, Orthrus. I'm still going to put Orthrus in A, even though I just said that I hate 2 pips. Orthrus just seems to do a lot of damage for the amount of pips that it does. And it's really cool looking. And I'm going to be a little bit biased in the fact that my favorite spells in the whole game are the 7 pip spells. Like, that's just like, those were the max. Those were the highest level spells you could get when I started playing. And so I just think those are the coolest. I don't know why. Pierce is going to be going A. I use Pierce TCs a lot. If you've watched my streams, the only TCs I have in my deck, unless it's like a specific boss, 2 Pierces and 2 reshuffles. Because, you know, if that enemy puts up a crazy ass like shield or something, I gotta be able to pierce it. Puts up a tower, puts up like a school specific shield. I have that Pierce TC easy. And then I have me reshuffles because I keep like 15 cards in my deck, so I'm gonna have to reshuffle some fights. This Age of Reckoning, I forget what it is. Crit Pierce, who cares? I'll put it in B. It's not good. It's not good at all. Ivan, or whatever. It's technically Ivan, but it's Siren of Myth. Dude, it's so bad. I'll still put it in B+. It just does a shit ton of damage. The only problem with it is the double damage condition is really bad. Like, some of them are really good. Is it balance that makes it so you have to have a bunch of blades that's super easy to hit? I think Ice, you have a lot of health, that's easy. This one, you need to have 3 stun blocks. Unless you're literally putting up 2 sets of stun block cards, or the person that you're hitting is stunned. Which again, if you're saving up for 11 pips for Ivan, how the fuck? Maybe you just stunned the turn before. I don't know. Either way, or someone stuns in your battle for you. Either way, it's bad. It's not easy to hit. But, you know, it still does a lot of damage, even without the double saw. Yeah, Shatter's A+. Just because you can literally shatter every single shield. And there are a lot of bosses that do really well with Shatter. There are a lot of bosses that put on a shit ton of like shield and stuff as their cheat, so having Shatter is just really good. This is amazing. This is way better than the other 2. I'm tempted to put it in A, but I still don't think minion cards are that good. It's as good as the heal, if not a little bit better. Like a 70 shield for 0 pips. A 40 blade's good, but a 70 shield? Are you shitting me? The hell? That's so good. Pushing a damage over time. For 4 pips, it's garbage. It's absolutely garbage, which is why I'm going to put it in C tier. Who wants it? Nobody. That just makes no sense. It's too many pips. If you're going to have a bad spell, don't make it that many pips. That's all I say. Alright. Sacrifice minions got to be pretty bad. I'll put it in C as well. Not much to say there. Snake Charmer, I'll put in A. Actually, I'll put Snake Charmer in A+. Again, conditionally, with all of these 4-pip split spells, if you use it on one person, very good. If you use it on any more than one person, shit. That goes from 1,000 damage for 4 pips to 500 damage for 4 pips. That's garbage. That's literally half as good just to hit 2 people. So yeah, but I still think for hitting 1 person, Snake Charmer is really good. And it does as much damage as Celestial Calendar almost. So that's pretty crazy. 0 pip stun, obviously A. I don't I don't really know if you can make an argument for anything other than A. Like, it's just good. It's just good. These are so bad. I'll put it in B. Because it's not quite... No, I'll put it in C. I'm never using this. They need to make the reduced threats like 0 pips. I've said it multiple times. If you want people to actually use them, you need to make them not X pips and 2 pips. You need to make them 0 and 2, 0 and 4, something like that. It's so shit that it's 2 pips. No one's ever used it. If it's 0 pips, I might consider. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm a Storm and I just hit and now I have the aggro of all the minions, it might be worth it to get, like, you know, to reduce that threat on that minion. Like, I remember the first time we ever did, quick story. First time we ever did the Storm Titan Trident, you have to hit it 3 times. Before we found out you could tick it, this was like literally day 1. Before you could find out you could just put a tick on it and kill it 3 times really fast, we hit it 3 times. So we're 3 Jades in a Storm. And so our Storm hit, and now the Titan's hitting it with fucking crazy ass shadow spells that do a shit ton. So we would use the reduced threats and stuff in that, but that was only like because we were memeing around. Like, it really isn't that great. Summon a minion. This is gonna be B. I don't think it's that good. 5 pips for minion. When you just use your 5 pips to Frog or Earthquake. No. And especially this late in the game, you don't really need a minion, I think. Alright, Myth, Aura. That's gonna be, well, Bubble, I think it's, or is it the star spells? I think that's gonna be B+. Just damage is good. Summon a minion, B. Again, it's not great. It's with the other shitty minions, except for this one. Fuck that. Oh, it's X-Pip? Never mind. C. Sucks. Troll. Troll does decent damage. I want to put an A. It's about as good as Cyclops, and just good damage for the level. Dispel, put in B. Situational. I don't know a lot of times you need a Myth Dispel. Ice Dispel is definitely the best Dispel. And we'll get into that in the ice video. Like, Ice Dispel is either A+. I don't think it's quite S. I think it's A+. Oh, Life Dispel too, I think I had as pretty high as A+ or S. So Ice and Life Dispel are by far the best. Summon a minion for 6 pips. Who cares? Yeah, B. Again, I know why. Okay, Baba Yaga is actually pretty solid. For 6 pips, that's a lot of damage. And you can summon a minion. Most of the time, the minion's not awful. So that's good. I'll put Baba Yaga in A+. Because it's not quite as good as the other 2 spells that are above it. But, you know, it does a lot of damage, which is kind of what the other ones do there. And it gives a secondary effect that's pretty solid. So, yeah. This is my Myth tier list. Let me know what you think in the comments below. You know, if there's anything that you disagree with, agree with. I hate summon minion cards. I hate overtimes and stuff like that, so it means Myth is kind of just a shit school in my opinion. But everybody hates on Myth, and there are definitely places where Myth is quite good. So I shatter. Shatter, stuns, it's all solid. Alright. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next tier list, or another video, we'll see. You make me